This is a race that many riders consider their home event. We're in Pennsylvania for the Harley-Davidson Williams Grove Half-Mile, presented by Appalachian Harley-Davidson. Jared Mees, oh yeah, he has a reason to be pumped up. He has already locked up the 2018 AFT Twins Championship. Jake Johnson happy to be on the smaller racetracks where he has had some success this year. We'll see how he can do. And Sammy Halbert, same story for him. On the small tracks, he has been fast on his Harley-Davidson. In the singles division, Dan Bromley, this is his home race, and he is in position to clinch the singles season title. Last year's champion, Colby Carlisle, yeah, it's been a season like that for him. Ups and downs. See how he does today. Beautiful place to go racing. Jason Wygant, Ralph Shaheen, and Heather DeVoe on hand here at Williams Grove. Perfect weather for some flat track, and a nearly perfect season for Jared Mees. Mees has to be perfect. He is. Jared Mees wins Daytona. Out of the corner, Mees hooks up and just holds on. Jared Mees continues his dominance of AFT Twins in 2018. He has broken everyone. Huge lead and yet another win. Your 2018 champion of American Flat Track is Jared Mees. Big one for Jared Mees.
Joining me now is the #1 plate 2018 Twins champion, Jared Mees. Jared, you were able to clinch the championship here at Williams Grove last year. You got it done at our last race at Springfield. Has the emotion of going back-to-back champion for Indian Motorcycle set in yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you know, obviously something big would have had to happen, you know, at Springfield or for us not to win it. Not saying we had it in the bag by any means, but I was pretty confident in our performance that we could get the job done at Springfield. So it felt good. Springfield's a really historical place. And for me, I proposed to Nicole there, and I got married there, and my little girl Hayden was born right around there. So to clinch a championship there really tops off Springfield for me.
Even though you were able to get that championship, you finished second. You were a little disappointed about it. Is there anything you would have done differently on your last lap strategy?
Not really. I mean, obviously, I would maybe try to go back and see if I could try being second and have Brian lead off. But going around there the whole time, I actually said, man, I want to try to lead off this. So I had everything planned and everything went together right. It's just Brian got me at the line. It's typical Springfield.
You've made history. You have more time to add your name to the record books in other areas. What does it mean to you and your team to be able to accomplish those personal goals?
Oh, man, it means a lot. You know, when my name gets brought up in the same sentence as, say, Scotty Parker or Ricky Graham's or Chris Carr's, I mean, those guys were put on such a big pedestal when I was growing up and still are. I try to do what they did now in my prime, and to be able to be in that same sentence is really rewarding for me.
Well, Jason, Jared Mees won this race here last year, and he is looking to get win number 11 on the season. We'll see if he can get it done tonight.
Yes, thanks, Heather, and that is critical because the all-time season win mark is potentially up for grabs if he can win the final 3 rounds of the season. And as far as the career goes, he could be top 3 all-time before the year is up, too.
There's no doubt about it. It's been an incredible season, and all he is doing is padding what will certainly be a first-round ballot Hall of Fame career step book.
He has won 20 out of the last 33 races we've run in this championship. Let's talk about Williams Grove a bit here, Ralph.
It's one of the oldest, most famous racetracks in the country. Williams Grove has been in operation since the 30s. It is one of the most legendary dirt tracks. It's a gigantic paperclip, very long straightaways, tight turns. It's going to be a lot of fun to see you go fast on this clay.
Let's send it back down to Heather.
Thanks, Jason. Pennsylvania is the home state to many riders in American Flat Track, including our 2018 Twins champion, Jared Mees. We saw him clinch the championship at Springfield, but he is still hungry to get more wins, including here tonight at Williams Grove Speedway in front of his home crowd. Also, keep your eye on another Pennsylvanian, our points leader in the singles class, Dan Bromley. He has the opportunity to clinch tonight and win the championship. All he has to do is finish in front of Ryan Wells. But the pressure is on all these teams and riders. Due to our range-shortened program, there is not a lot of time for them to work on those bikes and get their setups dialed in to where they want them. So it should be interesting to see who can finish out front.
Thanks, Heather. We will start with our storylines. Qualifying heat races were rained out, so we went straight into the semis. Great battle here. Briar Bauman makes the move on Robert Pearson. Jake Johnson almost gets into the back of Pearson, and then Bauman pulls away. He has been coming on strong lately.
Boy, he sure has, and he's riding really aggressively here today, and that could be the key. If you can be a little bit more aggressive than some of the others, that might just be the ticket to a win here today.
That top 6, those are the riders that qualify for the main event. We go on to semi number 2. On the smaller racetracks, these Harleys are pretty quick. The 69 of Sammy Halbert giving Jared Mees all he can handle.
Well, the Harleys have been coming along, and they've been looking forward to a racetrack like this. So maybe back to that aggressive nature with the Harley might be an interesting combination to keep an eye on.
Johnny Lewis third, another Harley with Vanderkoy in fourth. Now we go on to semi number 3. Yet another Harley, Brandon Robinson in the 44, recently back from injury, battling Jeffrey Carver.
It's been a while since you've said that repeatedly, Harley, Harley, Harley.
Yeah.
Might be kind of fun for the folks with the bar and shield.
This, not fun. Last week's winner, Brian Smith, mechanical problems won't make the main.
Yeah, he's been having issues with the clutch today.
Wow, that's an upset. Carver, meanwhile, carves his way into the main event by winning the semi. So the field is set in our twins division. Meanwhile, in singles, Dan Bromley. Does he have a championship on order at his home race? We'll find out next. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the official motorcycle of AFT Twins. And by American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. And by Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers. American Flat Track from Williams Grove Speedway. Singles action coming our way, and some good news. Rider that was injured at round 3 of the series in Texas, Sandriana Shipman, is now healed up and ready to go racing, and with a new ride, Richie Morris Racing Honda picking her up. Here's Heather with more.
Sandriana Shipman making her return here at Williams Grove Speedway. Sandriana, it's great to see you. You were plagued by injuries earlier in the year at Texas. Talk a little bit about those injuries and what you had to go through therapy-wise, specifically with your hand, to get back to racing.
It was pretty tough. Just, you know, those injuries happen all at once was really the toughest part. I've been through injuries before. They happen, but my hand was really tough. You know, breaking almost everything in there just made it extra hard to just get everything working properly again. It was the last piece of the puzzle when we were going through and doing therapy. Did the leg first, did the wrist, and then the hand was last, and doing everything I possibly can just to be able to hold on and be strong and just get that range of motion back.
You thought about possibly hanging it up, but then you decided to race again. What went into that decision?
It didn't last very long, that thought. It's the first time I ever actually had that thought before. The thought was, I have to quit. My body can't take this anymore. But then I thought about it, and I was like, I have unfinished business. I got to get back to it, and then my mind was just off to the races from there.
Now, you unfortunately did not make the main tonight, but you're with Richie Morris Racing for the remainder of the season. What are your goals going into these last couple races?
You know, having these guys behind me and having the mechanics that I have is just, you know, they're top notch. They're busting their butt to get me, you know, just comfortable on the bike, and that's what Richie Morris just wants me to do. Basically, do what we can and try to make a main, of course. You know, I always have that goal. That's the ultimate goal, is to get on the top of the podium, but having to slow my mind down and remember, you know, I'm coming back from injury, easy does it.
Well, that is a good way to get back into it if you're coming back from injury, but if you're Ryan Wells, it's max aggression tonight. He has to finish in front of Dan Bromley, or the championship is clinched by Bromley. 50 points is essentially the magic number. There'll only be 2 races to go and 50 points up for grabs after this. So let's get to our storylines from the semis. We saw great racing in twins, great racing here in singles. Colby Carlisle and Jesse Janish duking it out.
This is the kind of racetrack that could favor Colby, because Colby's been talking a lot about how he wants to be aggressive. And if you can get wide on this racetrack, get a little higher, stay on that throttle, it can work, and it did for him.
Yeah, we see a little more of that here. Looking around the outside, Tanner Dean makes the move. That's Shayna Texter on the 52. Both riders have won races this year. They battle all the way down to the stripe, but that outside line did pay off for Dean, who gets the victory. Semi number 3, this is pivotal. We mentioned Ryan Wells has to beat Dan Bromley in the main. Well, he beats him straight up in the semi, so a good sign there for the Richie Morris Racing Honda rider Wells as we get prepared for our singles main event. One last chance for the riders to survey this racetrack.
You got a good look at the famed bridge on the backstretch here. It was built back in about the 40s. There's a look at the lineup too, and Colby's going to have a good starting spot.
Yeah, and since Colby, last year's champ, is out of title contention this year with a lot of mechanical problems and crashes, you know he's going to be running wide open for the win. Throw caution to the wind for the Flying Tomato here on the Estenson Yamaha. There's Shayna Texter, 2 victories this season. We'll see how she could do on that factory-supported Husqvarna. 15 laps. Are they 15 laps that will separate Dan Bromley from his first ever title in the singles class? We're going to find out. Let's go racing at Williams Grove. And Bromley on the 62, not a good jump. It's going to be Shayna Texter and Tanner Dean battling for the lead just like they did in their semi. Dean to the front.
Well, here's the thing about this racetrack with these long straightaways. You would think people would be backing it in, diving down to the bottom, scrubbing off some speed. But if you can wick it up around the outside, carry that momentum, like Shayna's trying to do there on the 52, that could be the fast way around to victory.
Shout out to the Australian. We've seen him a few times this year running quick. Right now in third, Max Whale on that Kawasaki. Then it is Carlisle on the Yamaha in fourth. Both Bromley and Wells are a little bit further back. Bromley just sneaking now into the top 5, but he is pulled ahead of his championship rival at the moment. Way on the outside is Wales. I'm not sure that's going to work. Carlisle trying to take advantage and get underneath.
Well, that outside line is so frightening to take, too, Jason, because you have to run it in so far deep into there. You keep thinking, man, I'm going to go all the way to that air fence, and then you just hope it hooks and carries you around.
Yeah, Wales is absolutely on a tightrope there between where the traction is perfect and where it completely gives out. And look at Bromley on that 62 KTM. He is closed up to the battle. Oh, Shayna, hold on to it.
See, that's the scary thing about this clay surface this year. We got a lot of rain, as you mentioned. There's a lot of tackiness in that track, and it's a matter of risk-reward as to how much throttle you grab and when before you just get high-sided off the bike.
And it almost happened to Wales there in third. We're on board with the fourth place rider. That's the Flying Tomato, Colby Carlisle. He's trying to pass Wales and dealing with heat from Bromley. And if you're Bromley, you just need to make sure that number 94 Honda behind you does not make a move, and the title is yours. So we'll see how Bromley plays this in fifth on that 62.
Well, and listen, don't count out Whale on that Kawasaki number 181. He is a 6-time Australian junior champion, and both his mom and dad raced motorcycles, so he's well accustomed to finding his way to victory lane.
Yeah, he's not afraid to jump right in with the riders that race the entire series and battle them. Another pass attempt for the number 1 of Carlisle. Can't quite make it happen. Shout out, though, to Tanner Dean, starting to move away from the field up front. This could be his second win of the year, the rider out of Washington, if he holds on. Man, Carlisle is trying everything to take that third-place spot.
Trying to get to the outside of Whale there. I love talking to Whale's dad about how it is when he goes racing with his son. When they're on the road together, he goes, oh, it's nice. For 7 months, we just argue.
Well, you could do that at home even if you weren't racing, so why not do it out here? It looks like Carlisle's finally got the pass made. No! Dad's going to be happy about that. Max is fighting hard for this third-place position. Nowhere to go for Carlisle.
You see how Max kept the wheels in a straight line as they go through the corner? He's not sliding that bike through there. He's running through there. Now he's sliding through this corner. But if you can keep those wheels in a straight line, you keep your speed up.
And it's working right now. Wales still holding off Carlisle. Bromley right there. Shout out now the 69 of Morgan Mishler. He wants in on this. Carlisle just can't clear him. Gonna try the outside again. Nowhere to go. And Bromley now, season opening.
Boy, it is sketchy up on that high side, isn't it? You can see Colby really fighting through there.
He has no other place to try to make the pass, but absolutely, Ralph, it is a risk to run it out there. But he said he's going to be aggressive this year, and he certainly is, but that's only the battle for third. Up front, Tanner Dean pulling away from Shayna Texter. Carlisle, Bromley still fighting for podium spots. We're back to Harley-Davidson Williams Grove Half-Mile. See that orange number 62? That is Dan Bromley, right now running in a championship clinching position because his rival, Brian Wells, struggling tonight, has dropped outside of the top 10. All Bromley needs to do is finish in front of Wells, and the title is his. So essentially, now that Wells is having a bad race, Bromley just needs to get to the finish line.
Yeah, but Bromley doesn't know that, right? There's no communication with 5 to go. He's just wondering, where is Wells?
Brandon Price makes the move on Bromley. He sure looks like he's back down the pace. These riders haven't. Whale has been having a whale of a battle all night with the number 1 of Carlisle. Now Morgan Mishler in on it as well. Very impressive.
Max out of Koondoo, Australia on that 181. This youngster, just a teenager, holding out the hard-charging Colby Carlisle, some 16 years of age, is Maxwell.
They finally made the move. Sorry to cut you off there, Ralph. Carlisle has waited nearly the entire main event to finally get an opening, and once he gets it, Morgan Mischler's able to get around him as well. Unbelievable, this battle. 16 years old. This kid can deal with some pressure well in that 181. Is fighting back, trying to reclaim third. Let's see if Mischler can get him. No, Wales still there.
Really impressive with how Max is running this race. Look at him drifting up a little bit there, getting deep into that gas, trying to hang on to that motorcycle.
Mischler, they are still foot peg to foot peg. Who's going to lift late in this corner? Every time I think they've completed the pass on Whale, he finds a way to slither out of it. Mischler's going to try to clear him here out of turn 4. And he finally makes the pass stick. Carlisle, man, he has been behind Whale the entire way. He's got to be frustrated.
You know, Max ran the amateur series here in the U.S. last year, took the number 2 plate home. So he's really developing some skills here in the U.S.
And not a bad time to do it. A lot of factory interest starting to come into this series. This might be some of the factories might want to look at, especially considering how young he is. Little Yamaha support, of course, for last year's champ, Carlisle, who still can't get him. 1 lap to go. Mischler's in third, Shayna Texter second, and we haven't even seen much of Tanner Dean. He has run away and hidden from this field. There he is on the Waters Auto Body backed machine. Well done. That's going to be his second race victory of the year, and you saw how tight the racing was in qualifying, how tight it was for most positions out here, but not for the win. Tanner Dean dominates in Pennsylvania. And Bromley, let's check his progress. There he is. He comes across. Whoa, how just as happy as Bromley is Jesse Janish right next to him. He knows the way the math turned out. Good sportsmanship from Janish. Dan Bromley, who finished second in this series back in 2015, has claimed the championship because Ryan Wells struggles tonight, and that 58-point lead that Bromley now holds is insurmountable. So Bromley, who started the season as a privateer, now starting to get some support from KTM, is your new champion.
Dan Bromley is officially your 2018 singles champion in American Flat Track. Dan, it is your first championship here in this series. A lot of memories will go into that. It's a very special moment for anyone in their career. But what will you remember most from this season?
A lot of the hard work that went into it. You know, my family came together for this. At the beginning of the year, I didn't have funding to even do the last half the season. I only had funding to do the first couple races, and then I put up a post on Facebook, and everybody just came together and helped me out with gas, tires, here, there, and I can't thank everybody enough that came in to help me. All the sponsors that has supported me in my whole career. It really has come to this, and I'm just speechless. You know, I can't even speak straight. It's a crazy feeling and a little emotional. My whole family's here, and I'm just so blessed and thankful for this moment.
You said it, you're emotional. We can see it in your eyes. Can you put into words these emotions that you're feeling?
Oh, I definitely can. You know, there's a lot behind this, and I can't thank them enough.
Congratulations. That's Dan Bromley, your 2018 singles champion.
Not bad for a rider that thought he only had the money to go to the first 3 races of the year. Daddy Deep Pockets had to dig a little deeper, get him to all the races. Clinches the title with a 7th place finish. We mentioned Tanner Dean taking the win. These are your results. A rough run for Wells, who ends up 15th. Here's your race winner.
Tanner Dean takes the win here in the singles class at Williams Grove Speedway. Tanner, this is your 2nd win of the season. That race went by extremely fast. How were you able to get it done tonight?
Like I said earlier, I hit my lines right, and I made sure nobody got by me. I led my own race, and I came out with the win.
With that torrid battle for 3rd, it was the Cyclecraft Yamaha rider on the right, Morgan Mischler, who comes out on top of that one for a podium. 2nd place, Shayna Texter.
Shayna Texter finished 2nd here at her home track of Williams Grove Speedway. An improvement over last year after not making the main. How did it feel out there tonight?
Oh man, it was incredible. I really wanted to dig deep to try and get that win in front of my hometown, but you know, I had a moment in 3 and 4 trying to chase down Tanner, and you know, I figured I need to come home in 2nd place and salvage some points. You know, we still got 2 rounds left, and I'm trying like heck to bring home 3rd place again in the championship.
There was a lot of pressure on riders today with the shortened program. Were you feeling it at all?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was intense, you know, shortened program, but I actually preferred it a little bit. You know, it allowed us to kind of take our strategy to the next level a little bit and just try and gamble.
No gambling here. Dan Bromley already has the title wrapped up, and he does it in his home state. And what a race at our last event. Brian Smith, in dramatic fashion, gets his first victory of 2018. We'll relive that one next. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Indian Motorcycle. Be legendary. By E3 Spark Plugs, the official spark plug of AFT. And by Vance & Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. Oh, the highs and lows of racing. Brian Smith, bike problems, does not make the main event tonight. That's a shocker because he won the main event in our last race, and it was a good one. Mees is going to lead them off of it. Smith is locked down second. He's going to make one last dash. But at the stripe, it's going to be Smith.
Springfield, man, I love that place. Got more wins there than any of the current guys, so a lot of people gave me a lot of confidence going in there, saying I was the one to beat. The last lap at Springfield, you know, you can plan it out for the 24 previous laps, but basically you got to be ready to react. And that's how it played out. I thought I needed to lead it off turn 4, and I got kind of shuffled around and ended up being second off turn 4. Honestly, as we stood up off turn 4, I didn't know if I was going to get it or not. And as we crossed the line, I looked down and realized I had a few inches on him and was pumped. Climbing the fence at Springfield, probably my 3rd or 4th time being able to do that. 9th time winning Springfield. Haven't won in a while, so damn right I wanted to climb the fence after I won. It's the closest thing to being able to high five or shake hands with all the fans there that are just there to support us racers and watch a great race. A lot of guys say I'm the one to beat on the miles. You know, a lot of it, I think, is just having more experience in the sport. The first time you ride a mile, you're just hanging on for dear life at 130, and you can't think about nothing besides holding on and going fast. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to slow the race down at 130 and process it all and think about when I need to go and not going until then. Springfield's always special. It's been a special place to me since I walked in there when I was 7 years old. To think about that I just won the 100th running of that race, it's a dream come true.
It's cool to see, by the way, the old master of the miles, Scotty Parker, who taught Brian Smith a lot about winning at those big tracks, able to join him on the podium. He was our grand marshal there. But now we're back to the half mile, your Dunlop tire tech tip. Everyone in the top 10 in the grid is picking the softer R5 tire, except for 2 riders, Henry Wiles and Davis Fisher, but it's a surprise to see the soft compound here.
Normally you would go with the harder R8, but because of all that rain on this orange clay, a lot of the guys thinking the R5 will make it through.
Well, from tires, we're going to get even more in-depth with the motorcycles. Bring Johnny Lewis out to break down one of these Harley-Davidson factory flat track machines and see the difference between a production motorcycle and what it takes to win at the top level in AFT. And then it's our main event. Stay with us. Nearly ready for our main event, the Twins class of American Flat Track. When we talk twins, well, that means twin-cylinder motorcycles. Let's get in depth with Johnny Lewis.
We're here with the Harley XG 750, and I want to take you around to show you what makes an AFT production twin. We'll start off with the motor. It's a double overhead cam, twin-cylinder, V-twin race bike with a Vance & Hines exhaust. This allows a very good package to start with that's been in the history of the sport for a long time. And from there, we basically build a chassis around it with a chromoly frame to lower the center of gravity of the bike, to kind of allow a little bit of flexibility, because we're building a light but stable bike that allows the flexibility of what we need to get traction on dirt. And then we move on to the wheel size. We run 19-inch front and rear. It kind of balances out the motorcycle. One of the changes we can change for tracks is the width size of the rim. This allows us to help get traction or dig through a section of the track a little better than another. And these are 3 components that really make an AFT twin that you can buy at the showroom and develop into a race bike to race the AFT Flat Track Series.
All right, good stuff there from Johnny Lewis. There is one of those factory Harleys, Sammy Halbert, ready to go. Jeffrey Carver is a contender every single time we're on the racetrack. He's second on the grid tonight, and there's Jared Mees, third in the grid. He's already clinched your championship. As we mentioned, he's won 20 of the last 33 races in this series over the last 2 seasons. He's an odds-on favorite, but the surface a little different than what we normally get here in Pennsylvania due to all the rain. So maybe that'll open up the door for a new winner. We're going to do 25 laps with 18 riders here in Williams Grove. Down to the inside, the number 14, Briar Bauman. He won his semi. He's been quick the last couple of weeks as well. Here we go from Williams Grove. And it's Johnson with a good jump on the outside, the number 5. Halbert going to try to edge him wide. And it's Bauman in the lead on the 14. Here comes Jared Mees on the number 1 right with him.
Boy, everybody trying to get as much throttle as they can to get the power to the ground. Oh!
Wait a minute, we've got trouble back here just outside the top 10 riders in the air fence. That is Kenny Coolbeth, and he is up, and he does not look happy. He's going to have a word. No, he's not. He's checking to make sure these guys are okay. Henry Wiles limping. What happened here?
Watch Johnny Lewis on the 10 here, Jason. He's right on the inside of the pack, and he takes it in deep, and that's Coolbeth right on the outside who gets taken out, and then Kenny is just sliding across the Williams Grove surface, knowing everybody's coming after him, and then it's just a mess from there.
Yeah, that is a scary situation. Wiles into him, and I think Jared Vanderkoy. Let's look again at Lewis and Coolbeth.
Boy, Johnny just went in really deep. And you can see some of the other riders were already trying to slide their bikes through the corner, and Johnny was just still diving in here. Look at how far in he comes. There's Coolbeth on the 2. He sits up, he's braking, and Johnny's still charging. Ooh. And he charges right into Kenny.
And I'm telling you, Vanderkoy, he probably came 3 feet from hitting the head or torso of Coolbeth right here. Wow, that is scary.
That is really scary for Kenny Coolbeth, and I can completely understand why he's upset.
Well, yeah, I thought he was maybe going to talk to Wiles or Vanderkoy. No, he's mad at Lewis. Look at this. Whoa. Wait a minute. Throwing blows there at Lewis, who is ready for the restart. He is hot. You don't normally see that from Coolbeth ever.
That is definitely not the Kenny Coolbeth I've known over the years. He's a multi-time champion of this series, and I can understand his level of frustration. Watch this again. Remember, Kenny is about to retire from racing, and he's thinking, man, now this is going to happen, and it's a move that's a little bit overly aggressive on the part of Johnny Lewis. At this stage of the race, it's not needed.
Let's go to Heather.
Kenny Coolbeth, the first rider to go down in that incident. Kenny, you're obviously upset. What happened out there?
Yeah, you just you have a good going, and you have people that aren't around for a while and just want to take you out. So uncalled for, really. You know, it's a $50,000 machine pretty much wrecked, and everybody else that ran into us, hopefully everybody's okay. And you know, it's just from stupidity, really.
Thank you. Glad you're okay.
Jason, listen, I understand why Kenny's mad, but look, there's no motorsports sanctioning body in the world that's going to allow a competitor to throw a punch at another and get away with it. He's going to suffer some penalties, Kenny Coolbeth, from that.
Well, his bike was destroyed, so he's not on the line. I'd imagine if he could get the backup bike, which is not allowed, or repair the other one, they wouldn't have let him race anyway. As you said, you can't throw a punch, so he's out. Back to the restart, and Jared Mees takes advantage out front now.
Boy, Jared got great drive off that corner.
Going to give him the K&N Holeshot Award. This is what we've seen from Mees most of the year. The starts have been incredibly strong. The last few races, not quite as much. So he's back to his old tricks out front, and now it's Jake Johnson going to try to track him down.
Yeah, and Jake Johnson, a winner already this year. He'd like to get another one, and he's living here in Pennsylvania these days. So, boy, he would really like to get one here on the home turf.
Carver and Bauman, that's 23 and 14. They are right there. There's 14 of Bauman putting pressure on Johnson. Nice outside line attempt from Bauman. We're going to see firsthand if it pays off. No, Johnson holds him off for second.
Jason, I can't stress enough how these guys are dancing with the throttle here today. This track, oh, we got a pass for the lead.
Bauman, he made that outside line work not just on Johnson, but on Mees. Mees comes right back on the exit.
Did you see Mees come rocketing off the corner? And that's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of grip in this surface, and it's very tempting to just grab a handful of throttle and just wick it up and go for it. But boy, if you get just at the wrong time, it is a huge high side tonight.
Whew, Bauman is right on that line. Ralph, head shake coming into the corners, sliding in and out also. So it's basically aggression versus the smooth style of Mees, nearly equal. Right now, Mees a slight edge.
Man, Bauman is riding so courageously on the outside tonight. He has got that thing just flying around there up in what would be like no man's land.
And it pays off. He makes the move. So he passed Johnson there, and now he completes the move on Mees. So the aggression, at least early, good for the number 14. Hasn't won a race since switching.
Did you see that front wheel come up? Oh, man.
We got the full menu from Bauman tonight. We've seen everything you could practically do in a motorcycle, and he did it in about 6 laps worth of racing. We've seen sliding the back end, hooking up and wheeling, head shake, outside lines, inside lines, and now he's actually beginning to pull away.
Well, listen, they love their dirt racing up here in this part of Pennsylvania. Of course, the National Open, one of the biggest sprint car races in the world, takes place here. Names like Tommy Hintershitz and Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell have been legendary around this venue, and they're adding the name of Bauman to it tonight.
And he's a bit of an adopted son as we're on board with Sammy Halbert. Bauman originally from California, but he's dating Shayna Texter, who's based in Pennsylvania. So he spends a lot of his time here in the Keystone State trying to get the win. Halbert has been strong, battling with his factory Harley teammate Vander Kooi on the 20 as they try to march toward the top 5. Bauman continuing to march away. And a good battle for third between Carver and the number 5 of Johnson.
You can see how this, oh,
wow.
Johnson almost caught his leg. Did you see that? Almost ripped him right off the bike. But you can see Carver and the rest back there, how they're sliding through the corners. And then watch Bauman as he's up top, keeping the wheels in line, just ripping around the high side of the racetrack.
And then Johnny Lewis, of course, had that drama with Coolbeth earlier before the restart. Doing well right now, just outside of the top 5. Rest of the field coming around. Bauman has smoothed it out just a bit. Yeah, he's really got this track dialed in right now.
Look at how much more exaggerated the rear ends come out on these guys as they're all sliding into the corner compared to what Bauman's doing.
Bronson Bauman in the 37, that is Breyer's brother. He's looking to square up Lewis, and he does it. He makes the pass, and now he's in 5th. Lewis back to 6th. The brothers are feeling it here. Could we maybe see both of them on the podium?
Johnny almost got ripped off the bike, too. Did you see that? He almost came off the back end of the bike.
It never ceases to amaze me, Ralph, how quickly these riders shrug off those mistakes. Oh, not this time.
Couldn't get away with it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get away with it that time.
Well, I spoke too soon. Usually these riders have one mistake, they put it behind them like it didn't happen, but instead things are unraveling for Lewis, and it is going to cause a red flag. Oh, if you're Breyer Bauman, you didn't want to see this.
He just runs it in there deep, and right in here, looked like he catches it, and down it goes. Looked like he caught his foot there briefly, and down the, yeah, it just went away from him.
Well, you've talked all night about how unpredictable this surface is.
It is, but it's more unpredictable when they're grabbing the throttle as opposed to on the entrance to the corner. But down he went.
There's Vander Kooi. He's already got dirt on him from this incident earlier. Luckily, everyone was uninjured. We're going to have a restart, and we'll be back to see if Breyer Bauman can pick up where he left off. Restart in American Flat Track for the second time tonight from Williams Grove, Pennsylvania. We had a crash on lap 1, and then another crash about halfway through this. Breyer Bauman on the 14 was the leader, but he had pulled a little gap on the one of Jared Mees. That gap is now gone, and Mees is so good off the line, you got to watch for that KG veteran to try to shoot to the lead, and that's exactly what he's trying to do. Not going to be able to hold it too far wide. Bauman back to the number 1 spot. Bronson Bauman, where did he come from? He was 5th. Now he's in 3rd and now to 2nd. And then Mees shoots back around the outside. So both the Bauman brothers have Mees in a sandwich right now, and through it all, Mees to the number 1 spot.
Boy, Mees has his hands full here, doesn't he?
Every time you think he's going to pull away like he's done all season long, Breyer Bauman has an answer, and I think he's done it again.
Yeah, it's the outside line. Outside and a whole bunch of throttle.
Oh, and Mees did everything he could, and he's trying again. Championship is already decided for Mees, so no reason to not go out and try to win the races. Briar Bauman squares him up. This is fantastic racing.
I mean, Bauman ran it deep into the corner, diamonded it off, and just hammered the gas and came down on the bottom side with the lead again. Look at that.
I can't believe, though, as well as Briar Bauman is riding, Mees has an answer every time. He keeps trying, going low into turn one. Now he's going to use a different strategy, but Mees can't hang back too long because Bronson Bauman, Briar's brother, is right there in third. Might be the best race I've seen Bronson run. He's going for the podium, and you get into a battle with your defending series champ. You're definitely doing something right. Carver in fourth, looking on. There goes Bronson to the inside.
Oh, we could get a Bauman 1-2 here tonight at the Grove.
Unbelievable. They have overhauled Mees, and there's their mom, Lisa. Oh, boy. She would be ecstatic with the 1-2, but I think right now, just bring it home safe, boys, okay? They're looking good at the moment. Let's send it to Heather.
During that red flag, I got a chance to catch up with Briar Bauman's mechanic, Michelle DeSalvo, and I asked her if Briar said anything about how the bike is running. All he told her is that he didn't really know where he was at. She told him you are absolutely checking out on these guys. So Briar, so far, happy with that motorcycle, but if you see who's in second, that's his younger brother, Bronson Bauman, who is looking to get his best career finish here in the twins class and possibly his first podium.
Well, what I'm hearing out of that with Briar is he's totally in the zone. He, not knowing where you are necessarily just means he's completely focused on what's happening in front of him.
A couple of laps of fury there from Mees and Bronson, and they kept Briar honest, but now he is starting to edge away again, and Mees, he's not ever going to give up. He's going back after Bronson for second.
As good as the Bauman brothers are riding here tonight, we do have to give a lot of credit to Jared. He's throwing everything at him that he's got in his repertoire, that's for sure.
And also credit to Vanderkoy on that factory Harley. He was in the crash on lap 1. Leathers are all dirty. He's on the number 20 in 5th, and he can see this podium battle. So that's a nice shot in the arm for this Vance and Hines factory Harley team.
Yeah, and there's enough laps left. If he catches a break here, he could squeeze himself onto the podium.
They've edged ahead of the number 5 of Jake Johnson, and then Pearson comes through next. Here's Brandon Robinson. He is moving through traffic on his factory Harley. Harleys have looked good throughout qualifying and pretty strong here in the main event. These smaller tracks, the half miles, the short tracks, the TTs, they've been strong. It's got Wiles behind him. Remember, Wiles was limping after that crash on lap 1. So just good to see him still in the field. Another battle. Carver has caught Mees for third. And it is on right now. Serious pressure being applied. How is Mees going to play it? Can he still go after Bronson Bauman for second? Or is he going to have to focus fully on trying to stop Carver?
Oh, boy! That's where that high side that we were talking about could come into play.
Everybody has had a moment in this main event tonight. Mees has probably been the smoothest, but I'm sure he's even had a few little spots here and there where the bike has stepped out of line. Aggression is being rewarded, but we see the downside of that. It can get away from you in a hurry. It's happened to several riders. I think that's why we saw Lisa Bauman, the mother of the riders that are running 1-2. She is certainly not relaxed there in the sidelines because this track can jump up and bite you in a hurry. But it's looking good for a 1-2 for the brothers at the moment, edging away from Mees. Down the backstretch. Briar Bauman jumped from a Kawasaki to an Indian a couple rounds into the series, and the Indians have been so effective this year. I think he probably figured that's going to work immediately, but it has actually taken a long time to get that bike dialed in. We saw him in the battle for the win at our last race at Springfield. He ended up 4th, kind of threw a Hail Mary, went way wide and sent it to the last corner in a last-ditch effort for the win. So the 4th place finish doesn't really indicate how good he was there. He could have won that race. It was so close. So he's been building momentum, building confidence, and you can see it now as he is pulled away. Vanderkoy in a battle with Johnson.
Jake right there with him. Less than 5 laps to go. Jake's going to look on that outside.
So Vanderkoy, that's a Harley holding off the Indian of Johnson. A lot of riders switching the Indians this year. Johnson started the year on a Yamaha. They still get back on that thing every once in a while. Right now it's an Indian versus Harley battle for 5th. Vanderkoy holding it at the moment. We are now 3 laps away from a Bauman Brothers 1-2 as we continue to watch this battle for 5th with Johnson and Vanderkoy. Vanderkooi, one of the younger riders out here, he's 20 years old, so he's hoping to advance with the Harley team. Did have a podium early in the season with Atlanta as they continue to develop that bike, and him being such a young talent. They're learning a lot every weekend, but what he just learned there is don't let Johnson get to the inside. Johnson makes the pass, and there's the lesson. Vanderkooi goes to the inside in 1 and 2.
Yeah, the veteran Johnson on the outside. Former champ hangs on, takes the spot back.
I love the way this racetrack has shaped up. We have seen passing all over the place. Hard to say what line's better. Just depends on how well you ride it. Johnson, as the white flag comes out, able to complete the pass on Vanderkooi. Vanderkooi backs it in deep. Johnson wisely blocks him on the inside. Meanwhile, up front, Briar Bauman is 2 turns away from his first victory of the season. And to make it that much sweeter, his brother is right behind him in second. We're looking at a Bauman brothers 1-2 in their adopted home state. It's over, and the Bauman brothers do it. They sweep it here at Williams Grove. And by the way, they had to outduel the champ, Jared Mees, straight up to get it done. That is impressive. All right, there's Bromley's dad, our singles champ. First one to congratulate Lisa Bauman, who seeds her boys 1-2 tonight. That's awesome stuff. Johnson, as you saw, wins that battle of Vanderkooi. Pearson, a good run. He was strong all day and night, just outside the top 5. Coolbeth and Lewis, 17th and 18th. A little bit of irony there. There's the Motul move of the race. Bauman did everything he could to hold off Mees.
And again, look at how he keeps those wheels lined, and he diamonds that corner hard into the throttle and just powers down off the corner and away from Mees, and that's it. Man, that was impressive.
Yep, couple laps of fury from Mees after the restart to try to take advantage of his normally strong starting prowess. Didn't work. Bauman with the win.
Briar Bauman gets the win, his first of the season here at Williams Grove Speedway. Briar, prior to that restart, I asked your mechanic, Michelle DeSalvo, what you were saying, and you didn't realize how far in front you were of the rest of the riders. How is that possible, and how did the rest of the race go for you?
It's all insecurities, really. I mean, Jared, he's insecure about not being the best every weekend. It's just one of those deals you keep asking people, how'd I look, even though you could have had 10 seconds on him. I was so nervous. I'd come from like 5th, and I still didn't trust myself. Just one of those deals. I think it's a racer. You're always curious on if you can be better or not, because you can be better no matter how you did. So, yeah, she was like, relax, you're fine. You're rolling. You're faster than everyone else. Just do what you have to do and bring it home. So I can't thank her enough. You know, I got to take her on her first victory lap with me. And that meant the world to me because she busts her tail. So does Dave Zanotti. Can't thank Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas enough for giving me the opportunity to ride the Indian. I think it's a great motorcycle, and means the world to get a win here in Pennsylvania.
Your brother, Bronson Bauman, finished right behind you in second. At what point did you realize that he got a podium finish, and what does that mean to you guys as brothers to be on the podium together?
So with like 7 to go, I kind of backed her down a little bit. I'm like, you know what, we should probably try and bring this home, because I was still riding the front pretty hard and getting in pretty hot. So I took a look back when I got 2 to go, and I saw someone fairly close, like close enough to be kind of nervous, and was like, oh wow, better get it on. So we brought her home, finished, and going into turn 1, I looked back and was like, man, did I lap him? There is no way. And sure enough, he took second. I don't know where he came from or what he did, but he was really, really rolling tonight, and it's great to see him doing well.
So Briar Bauman has taken his first victory of the season. You had a feeling this was coming. He's really advancing the last couple of weeks. We'll talk to his brother next. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the official motorcycle of AFT Twins. And by American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. And by American Flat Track, America's original extreme sport. Oh, what a great night for the Bauman family. Briar takes to win the 37 of Bronson. Ends up in the number 2 position. First ever podium for Bronson.
All smiles here for Bronson Bauman as he gets his first podium in his career. You switched to Indian to fill in for Brad Baker. You've had great finishes, and then you cap it off tonight with a podium, finishing right behind your brother. Talk about the emotions you're feeling right now.
It's crazy. I'm honestly speechless. I know it's not a win, but it's huge for the confidence right now. And first of all, I can't thank Brad and Indian enough for giving me this opportunity. And I can't believe my brother and I just went 1 and 2. It's once in a lifetime opportunity to be up here with my brother, and I'm on cloud 9 right now.
And that is awesome. Here are your Sunoco Go the Distance Award standings. We total up every mile ridden all year. Henry Wiles leads there. Third place tonight, the #1, Jared Mees.
Jared Mees bringing it home third in tonight's main event. Jared, we spoke earlier about this sped up program tonight. Do you think that's what plagued you guys to not have the right setup to get the win today?
You know, maybe a little bit. I'm just phenomenal. Hats off to the whole American Flat Track and the whole track crew. I mean, to get this in at this morning when I looked at the radar, I was like, there's no way. And here we are. We got the main event. It was so awesome. Congratulations to both Breyer and Bronson for their epic performance. And couldn't make the changes that I wanted to, but hats off to them guys. Don't think I had anything for them anyway.
Yeah, they're ganging up on Mees. Our next race, Minnesota Mile. That'll be cool, Sunday, October 14th. Mees has finally proven a little bit beatable lately, a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to cave anytime real soon.
Right.
They've got a couple of weeks before that next race in Minnesota. He'll start getting focused on that. I still think he has a really good shot at tying Ricky Graham's record of 12 in a year.
Congrats to Bromley, your singles champ, Tanner Dean, your singles race winner, and of course the Bauman brothers who go 1-2 from Williams Grove. For Ralph Shaheen and Heather DeVoe, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.